Okay, so thank you so much for participating to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been super excited about your app.
Thank you. How did you know about it?
My sister and I, who's an INTJ, we watch a lot of we follow the memes and we watch a lot of these Myers-Briggs videos. So we ended up finding you guys through, I think it was a meme connected to you guys.
Okay, cool. So if you want to start,
Sure.
my first question would be, what subjects are you interested in exploring?
Well, naturally, anything that has a variable of unknown. So things that can't be proven or disproven and leave room for debate. So I personally like a lot of mysteries or paranormal stuff, things that, you know, you can't just point to science, 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 here are facts. And you can say, well, here's a different way of looking at it, because you can't really argue with facts, though you can try, and I do. But
So you try to actually not never have the answer.
right, because then it loses the fun of debating it. It
Oh,
loses the joy of having different perspectives to look at it. It's
okay.
like if you go to an author saying, what did you mean by this symbolism? And they tell you the straight answer and it's not the one you were hoping for. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, well, now I can't think of it that way anymore.
Okay, interesting. Is there a goal at the end, or it's just like for the sake of?
It's like cardio. It's like mental cardio, trying, you know, because now I think through debating, you understand not only the subject better, but the person better. And
Mhm,
since the ENTPs kind of have a hard time, you know, relating on a feeling level,
mhm.
getting to know that thinking level is very, very helpful. If you were to sit down at a table with someone you'd never met before, rather than the small chat of, you know, what do you do for work? What do you think, you know, if someone gives you a topic of, you know, put this down, discuss it. I think you get to know a lot more about their personality and their beliefs and what they value
Mm.
just through talking about one topic and taking a side and trying to understand.
And I've heard as well that ENTP do that very quickly. So like
Yes.
when someone starts to talk, they can figure it out who they are completely. And is that true?
To a fault. To a fault. There have been situations where like I'll jump to, oh, they think this, they must think that, and I'll jump 6 steps ahead, and then they'll throw me off by the next thing they say. I'm like, oh wait, I had this completely wrong.
Like if you're always ahead of what they're gonna say, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it might be almost boring.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I said like I don't find a lot of people boring, but I do try to, you know, put on the charm and be, you know, act genuinely interested. But no, that's a lot of, I think that's why we rile people up the way we do, is
Mm.
to, you know, bring out a different side of them to keep things interesting. So, you know, if we can rile them up and get them passionate about something, that's the part we're interested in. Whereas people who try to stay very mild mannered and conserved and, you
Mm.
know, trying to put on a nice persona,
Mhm.
that's so boring for us because we can see right through that and we want to know what's underneath. It's difficult because it's not so much the heart of the person you're interested in. It's more of the unknown, you know,
Interesting.
the neurological connections, you know, how their psychology works and what leads to this and what leads to that, almost like a therapy session where you're trying to undo a puzzle and see where things connect.
Mm. That's so interesting. Um, okay, so you study people. What else?
Mhm.
Um,
It's, you know, in typical fashion, it's a little bit of everything. I currently run my technically 3 businesses, but my main business I do with my family. We're dog walkers. And that's, you know, have trouble working for other people when you
yes,
constantly, you know,
yeah.
want to debate with them. So working for myself obviously is that business aspect and trying to expand that and um, grow that. And then I also have an art business where I do art commissions and, um, you know, I'll do cartooning and I'll do realism and anything that people kind of want, portraits particularly. And then on top of that, I do this charity thing where I dress up as popular characters, cosplay, and pretend to be that character for little kids to help raise money for certain events. And I just do that in my free time. So it's a mixed bag of everything, you know.
Yeah.
I studied biological anthropology and German literature and language in college.
So
So
that's amazing to see how spread out the
yeah,
subjects are.
I went going into film to study animation, and then it just kind of progressed from there as, you know,
Yeah.
let's let's do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. And so I ended up with a double major
So
that I don't use.
yeah. So you're what we say a starter. So you
Mhm.
have all the ideas, you have all the energy, you rally people, um,
But
you
then we
have
get bored.
vision. And then what happens? Can you explain what?
Yeah. And then we get bored, and when we walk away from it's a matter of having so many ideas and so little time. So much of the time we don't have enough energy to devote to one thing. So I mean, during this corona crisis, I have torn apart every room in my house in order to sand the floors, repaint the walls, you know, big ideas. And so far it's just been all ripped up and torn apart with the paint I've decided to put in each room.
Mm.
I haven't gotten any further
So,
than that.
so you mentioned the time. Is that
Mhm.
what is blocking um, in that process? Is that you imagining how long it will take that blocks you?
It's
What is exactly that blocks?
it's tedious, so it's also it's not keeping it interesting. So if I've got to paint the room three
Mm.
times with coats of paint, it's the same thing. And then on top of that, if I can't be doing something else at the same exact time. So I like to cook because I can start one thing, set it aside, let it cook, start another thing, and time it all out so that within an hour I'll have a 4-course meal. That's very good use of my time in my perspective. But if I have to sit down and read a book, that drives me insane because I can't do anything else. I can't fold laundry. I can't listen to, you know, a podcast or anything. It requires my focus, my energy, my eyesight. So I have to listen to podcasts, so or podcasts or audiobooks. I suck at sitting down and reading and doing one thing. So if it requires energy to just do one thing,
Mhm.
it doesn't seem worth the time.
Okay, so yeah, so you allocate your time so that you can do the more things
Mm-hmm.
possible. So I would like to know when you deal with someone, what happens? Like, so you said you analyze them, you try to
Mm-hmm.
understand their psychology. Um, how do you feel close to people, like connected? Like, because me, it's my only way is by emotions, by sharing our emotions and be understood. What is
Mm-hmm.
your way to get that feeling of I don't know
Well,
what it is?
funny you should say that you feel, you know, you want to feel understood
Yes.
through your emotions and everything. Well, when an ENTP debates and they want to understand someone, they want to know more about the psychology of someone, they're hoping that their willingness to understand them will make that person want to understand themselves. Like, if I can understand what they value, what they don't, what their fears and anxieties are, what they cherish, I'm less likely to give off a bad impression on them. I'm less likely to hurt them. I'm more likely to be helpful to them and someone that they want to confide in and know will be there for them.
Mhm.
Um, and that's sort of, you know, the very guarded undertones of who we are is, you know, we can in our heart be feelers and want to be there and want to be that support for them, but we need to understand a little bit more and not hurt them.
I,
Because it's very easy with feelers to, you know, if you say something too logistical or something that um, you know, they're going to take offense to, whether you mean it to be offensive or not, you're going to ruin that whole established relationship very quickly.
Mhm. What for you is the most important in a relationship?
Keeping it interesting,
Mm.
because again, you know, we once we become complacent in one thing that is comfortable, we feel like we stop growing and we stop learning and we stop chasing something new. So keeping, it can be just the littlest things of let's go experience something new together. Let's, and sometimes we'll just start arguments just to, rile up that passion in the person that we care about. We like a challenge. Someone who's willing to be challenged and will challenge us in return to be better and more efficient and stronger and hopefully a better feeler. Not just a better thinker, but a better feeler to really better connect with the people around us, because we are extroverts and we do feed so heavily off of the people around us. And we can't be so dismissive of just, they feel, I don't, I can't deal with that. We want to deal with that. It's just difficult. So, it's just someone who can push you to be more and do more. And so because when it's not new and different and challenging anymore, it's stagnant, and that's pretty much over for an ENTP, because just like their other projects, if it's not something that can be utilized in more ways than one of just, oh, here's a significant other, here's a friend, here's someone, it's just that's that. It's not someone who will teach me how to do this, someone who will do this with me. It's just one purpose, one thing, and we can't multitask, which is also, huge. We need to be growing in every direction that we can. And if we have, this one thing holding us back, it's going to feel more like a burden. And that's not how anyone should feel like they're a burden. And like, I think ENTPs have a way of potentially hurting people like that, because it's not their fault. And you just, you feel bad, like, oh, they're not stimulating me enough. I mean, I love this person, they're great, but I feel like I've figured them all out.
Thank you so much, Hollie, for this interview. I better understood ENTPs and I'm really happy about it. I hope it's the same for you guys. And we are gonna come back soon with more videos for you to understand each type.